live on Facebook Live and YouTube. We are here today with several certified OolaLife coaches, and our subject today is fitness. We are so happy to be with you. We're going to talk about fitness, which really means everything about health and wellness and how we feel about our bodies in physical, mental, social, spiritual ways. So to start things off today, Adina Hamulik is a health and wellness coach and personal fitness trainer for the last 3 years. And she's going to give us some tips on starting an exercise program or maintaining an exercise program and being successful at that. So Adina, we'll let you take it away.
Okay, hi everybody. So this is one of my passions. And just a little disclaimer, I know that not everybody's going to be passionate about exercise and, eating healthy and all of that. However, it's obviously the foundation of our lives because we all need to eat. We definitely don't, some people don't exercise, but it is very imperative if we want a good quality life. And so that is why it is my passion, because I do exercise all of those things in my own personal life. So I'll just start out by saying I'll kind of give 3 points. I'll kind of start with starting out, some cautions, and then the progress. So what I found, I've obviously coached people for 3 years now, and I feel like it can be really overwhelming, just like it was for me when I first started out, oh my gosh, almost a decade ago now. The reason I started out was because of an injury. And that's what, I was an athlete in high school and college, but I didn't go hardcore until I, had a torn up ACL, lost so much muscle. And I was like, well, how do I even, gain muscle back? And so that's how my journey started. And so it can be very overwhelming. I feel like sometimes we get so overcome with everything that we just want to do it all, go to the gym and lift all these heavy weights. And that's not the answer, especially if you're starting out. It's definitely a buildup, and there is a rhyme and reason. With social media or even just the internet, it can be very easy, and it is awesome if right now you may not be able to afford a personal trainer or whatever the case may be. You can definitely find still some good stuff online, but the online doesn't know if you have injuries or what your position is. And so that's where a personal trainer and even, a life coach, because fitness is one of the F's in OOLA, can really help you ease into it. So starting out, it's, it can be as easy. I've seen people just starting out to walk. It's as easy as that. I usually, when I have clients that don't lift or haven't ever necessarily lifted weights or anything like that, I always start them out very easy. There's a lot of exercises that can be done with just your own body weight. And with the quarantine, I've actually shared like a 5-day workout, I believe, that I was posting on my Instagram and sharing with people. And so for almost 3 months, I actually just exercised at home with minimal weights, with minimal equipment. So starting out, just very easy. What feels good right now? To just move, go for a walk, maybe an easy hike. Maybe you just start, maybe Google, at home exercises without equipment, and it will actually give you a ton of stuff. Okay, so let's just leave that there. So that is how you can start. Very easy, very nice and slow. Cautions. Okay, so this will definitely connect to the first one. The reason we want to start out slow is because we can definitely injure ourselves. Even I, last year, after working out for so many years, have started feeling something in my shoulder, and it was definitely an injury. I know it was. It's actually very common for us to tear our rotator cuff. It's very common. It can happen pretty easily. And so I think I've got a little something in there going on. And so, to me, I was like, I always have good form. And that's my other point. Form is so important. I still will see people at the gym kind of throwing, around the weight with their whole body. And it's very important to maintain good form throughout because that will prevent injury. So never be in a hurry or try to get to that heavy weight, because the way to build endurance really is the first thing that I usually do, that I have done myself when I started on this journey, is building muscle endurance, which usually happens in lower sets. Like you'll see stuff like 3 sets of 15 reps. And that's very common to build endurance for the first, depends how you progress and how consistent you are, but let's say 6 to 8 weeks to be on the same workout plan and work up towards this. As you are, as it gets easier, you're kind of upping your weight, but always maintaining good form. So that would be my caution. I'm not getting into the weightlifting and heavy too quickly. And never, don't pay attention. I know that's another thing that we can get caught up in. Don't pay attention to what everybody else is doing. Like, do your own thing. And if anything, I actually have a good tip. Especially for us women, I think, we are very hard on ourselves, and we judge ourselves, and we, just sometimes are our worst enemy. But what I've really done is when I first started going back to the gym as a mom, so because I competed before I became a mom, and then I decided to compete after becoming a mom, which was definitely different. But I'll never forget my first day kind of back at the gym, and I just saw this girl there, and she just looked so amazing. And you know what? I just decided to look at her as my inspiration. And I'm like, I love the way she looks. She looks fit. She looks healthy. I'm like, she must be prepping for a show. So obviously, that's what I'm doing now. So I decided to just choose. Every time I would see her, I'm just like, yes, girl, go get it. I'm like right there behind you. So I feel like picking those people, I didn't know her. I never spoke to her. But picking those people to just kind of look up to and surrounding yourself with that positivity and switching your mind to think that way instead of feeling the intimidation. Because at the end of the day, you are there and you are doing it. And everybody else, I always look at whoever is at the gym or hiking or whoever I see out there doing stuff. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, no matter where they are at in their journey. So that would be my caution, just getting your mind and getting your mindset right and ready for some of those things. And then the last thing about the exercise, I would say progress. Be very realistic. It doesn't happen overnight. I've had clients tell me like, well, I just don't want to get too buff. And I'm like, man, if it happened that quickly, I would be like, so happy. But because of where I competed, you had to gain a good amount of muscle. And it just doesn't happen that fast. Unfortunately, it does take time. It takes about a week actually to start losing muscle. So that's a good thing to know. However, don't confuse. For example, I'm going out of town for like about a week, and I'm not going to I will do some hiking, but I'm not going to lift weights or anything like that. Now, that actually, when you plan off time like that, it can be very beneficial for your body, because actually the building of the muscle doesn't happen while you're exercising. It happens when you are resting, because what you're doing while exercising is actually tearing your muscle fibers. And then with food, proper nutrition, and sleep, recovery, that's when the muscle building happens, because the muscle repairs, etc., etc. So I would say this is something that I really like to use as like kind of like a visual, even if you want to like write it out or whatever. But the reason a lot of programs are 12 weeks, even though I myself offer like my lowest program is like 8 weeks, which is 2 months for sometimes people just have never personally trained or anything. So it's like 2 months is still a good time to see results. But most programs are 12 weeks because they say it takes 4 weeks for you to start noticing changes. Again, given you are consistent and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You don't have to be perfect, but I like to use the 90-10 rule. 90% you're doing your thing, what you're supposed to be doing. 10% you're leaving for like the parties and like a little bit of just like, I'm going to go grab a pizza real quick, So 4 weeks for you to notice changes. 8 weeks for like your family and the people closest to you to notice changes. And then the 12th week, so another 4 weeks, which is another month, for the general public. Like, let's say if you are out and about or at the gym, someone's going to look at you and say, oh, you work out. So someone that doesn't know you. So that's what I always like to say that to my clients. Just be very realistic. How consistent are you? Because if you're not very consistent, don't expect the results if you're not putting in the work, so to say. And then well, actually, no, I'm going to keep this point for my food talk. So that's it.
Great. May I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Can you go over form just a little bit? Explain what you mean by form.
Yeah, definitely. So with form, for example, there's a couple things. Always keep your spine neutral. Now, because you're not doing yoga. In yoga, you can do all sorts of stretches and stuff, but when you're weightlifting, it is very important. And actually, it's funny you asked me, because one of my girlfriends the other day was saying it's very important for her to see people doing stuff because she's just not familiar with form. She's like, I never knew, your back just can't really be curved. And that is exactly right. Never, like, for example, when we're squatting, a lot of the times I was doing this myself until I actually trained with like a pro, that knows obviously more than I did. And the way I was squatting, I was kind of pushing my head up, and she said, just look straight, keep your neck and everything neutral and in line. And I'm like, that makes sense. So if you start, if anything's hurting or whatever, that this actually could go under caution. If you ever, because there's a difference between burning muscles, that's okay. Work through that burning, right? You're pushing yourself. But if you ever feel sharp pains, like pain, you need to immediately stop and do not push through that kind of pain. Another thing too with like our shoulders, because we want to compensate. And what that means is, let's say if your back isn't strong enough when you're like doing pull downs, which it will take time, it'll get there. But if it's not, then we can compensate by kind of going like this, for example, which is a no-no, because you've got muscle all the way through connecting. So it's very important to always keep a good posture, never like go, do anything like that. Just always very nice and pulling down, nice spine. Another thing I've seen is, for example, when people do shoulder work and they have weights. So just kind of imagine that you can see me like lifting weights. This is called a side lateral raise. And, I'll see people kind of like, because they're lifting heavy, and that's not correct. You want to just move the muscle that you are working. And so those would be my 3 points, I think, is what I made.
Great. That's helps quite a bit. Helps me understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
And others also, I'm sure. Okay. Now, on a totally different topic, but something I believe can fully support everything that Adina said. Sheila is going to talk about the benefits of meditation. And Sheila is actually a massage therapist from Chicago, Illinois. She's been practicing yoga and has a background in aromatherapy. And her approach to coaching basically is multifaceted and centered around improving lifestyle and creating healthy habits. So Sheila, let's hear from you.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
We're just going to get right to it. I'm going to actually just do a 1-minute meditation for all of you guys. So before we start, if you're on the panel and you want to type in the private comment section, but on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being 0, 1, I'm so chill, 5, middle of the day, or if your anxiety is really spiking right now, then 9 or 10. If you could just type in the number that you're feeling right now. Okay, and if you're rewatching this, obviously comment and we'll look back. All right, so go ahead and close your eyes. We're just I'll close my eyes for a second as well, and I'm going to open them just to make sure everybody's closing their eyes. I want you to take a deep breath from your belly. So however you're sitting, maybe just sit up a little bit taller and let your shoulders roll back so that your collarbone is opening up towards the sky. And then when you exhale fully from your mouth and just feel everything extract, almost like your belly is contracting. Oh, good. I heard someone breathing. Okay, again, go ahead this time even further. Take your breath a little further. Inhale all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the belly and feel your belly open up just like a balloon. Feel it expand. Exhale, all the way from the bel Reach your breath up all the way to your head. Hold it there for a second. And then very slowly exhale through your mouth. Okay. This time when you inhale, I'm going to say a mantra. I am calm. I am calm. So go ahead again. Inhale from the belly. Expand the belly as far as you can reach your breath. Lift it all the way up towards your head. And then let it out slowly through your mouth. Feel your breath out. I am calm. Last time. This time, see if you can make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. So inhale for 1, 2, 3. Lift it up to your head. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I am calm. You can go ahead and open your eyes. Nobody did anything while you were gone, I swear. Okay, so if you could just write a number that you feel right now, if you noticed a change, if you could just, if you are on the panel, if you could do a thumbs up, if you're stressed, if you feel calmer now. Does anyone feel calmer? Okay, Dina feels calmer. Okay, all right. I'm hoping some of you felt that. So the reason why I had you do that was so that you can understand the benefits, but also so that you can focus on me more when I talk. So my background is yoga, meditation. Like Adina, I had an experience. Mine was more like 17 years ago, and it was my first baby. And I was very athletic, and I just couldn't get my body back in shape. And one of my girlfriends at the time, she said, go ahead and do yoga. So I started Johnny Test videos at home. And at the time I was married, and we had some construction going on in our kitchen. And I knew the workers, they were actually some friends of mine. And one of them came over last minute to work on the kitchen. I was in the middle of my video. My son was napping, which is my only time to do yoga. So I continued to work through it. And I was very self-conscious that they were in the room next to me, and I ended up injuring myself. And I had gone into PT for about 6 to 12 weeks. I had injured my back. And so I promised myself I would find a yoga studio. And at the time, there was not, Core Powers and yoga studios on every block. There was like one for every few square miles. And so I found one and I went there. And I did not realize that meditation was part of yoga. I'm like, what is this? We get to the end of the, Savasana, and I'm lying there. I had no idea what to do. No one tells you. I mean, I'm like, what if I make a noise? When do I know when to open my eyes? How long is this going to, all these thoughts went through my head. It was very uncomfortable. And then I started kind of going through these different phases in Savasana where I would actually start crying. I was processing emotion, and it was just really, really deep. So then from there, I started teaching deaf kids yoga about 9 years ago in Chicago public schools. And so obviously teaching kids who can't hear how to do meditation is really hard. So I just would use the lights. I would turn off the lights, and the teachers would do the class with us. And they would say that their favorite part was meditation. Like, can you do this for longer? Can you do it for longer? And so I started exploring it a little bit more. And I ended up taking some classes in transcendental meditation. And that's like a whole nother conversation. So there's a lot of different ways that you can meditate. And I'm going to explain that in just a bit. But meditation for me was it was very uncomfortable in the beginning. I'm not a person who likes to feel out of control. I like to have my eyes open all the time. And so just that release of giving, like just taking the control away, even for a few minutes, was really, really hard for me. But anybody can do this. It's for all ages, for kids, adults, teens, grandparents. So I'm just going to get into the benefits. There's so many, but I'm just going to do 7 because 7's Oola, and I'm wearing my Oola Fitness bracelet right now. So the number 1 is it decreases stress. And I think this goes along with what Adina was saying, muscle recovery, just finding that rest so that your muscles can start building again. making that mind-body connection. Like in Oola Fitness, we're talking about, your physical well-being. We're talking about your emotional, your spiritual, your mental. It's all those things. So I think that's why Kevin has a wide variety of speakers today. So you definitely need to have, that mental fitness going in order to make it to your workout. So part of that is decreasing stress. So there's a lot of evidence these days that excess stress causes illness, and it can make other illnesses worse. And I'm studying integrative health right now. And obviously, one of the reasons that people get sick, like 80% of the time, it's from stress. Number two is it just helps you connect better, like with your friends and your loved ones. Like you're just more connected. You're more present. Like if you're being present to meditate for whatever duration of time you choose, like when you come out of that, you feel hyper focused. So when someone's talking to you, you're making better eye contact, you're listening better, you're taking the time to pause in between sentences. So it improves your relationships. And number three, it improves your focus. So especially with cell phones right now, a lot of times I work with teens, and 84% of teens ages 13 to 18 have cell phones. And the average time that they're on the phone every day not for school is 7 hours and 22 minutes. We logged my daughter's phones last week, and it was over 9 hours. So they have restrictions on their cell phones now. A week ago, I actually limited their phone use from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And that might not sound like a lot, but it is for them. So the cell phones are really a distraction, but it's just doing the meditation. It keeps your mind from being pulled in like 7 different directions. And it really gives us like that innate intuitive ability to focus. It lengthens your attention span. And so Adina was talking about physical weightlifting, like meditating is like mental weightlifting. So it's really hard. So I was going to say, you don't want to go for like 20 minutes on the first round. Like maybe just start with something smaller that's, for the first time person. So it will really keep your mind from wandering. Number 4 is it may help with addictive behaviors. I know addiction is a strong word, but a lot of times in Oola, especially, when you are trying to reach a goal, you might not have the mental discipline to develop that goal, and that just might be your lack of focus. That can be what we call like a blocker sometimes in Oola. And so just by meditating, you can really increase your self-control and your awareness about your triggers when you see them happening. Okay, so number 5 is it keeps your mind young. Having more focus and clarity, it strengthens the mind, the memory, especially when you use mantras. We'll talk about mantras in a minute, but just using a sequential mantra throughout the time where you're meditating can really help improve your memory and keep your mental health, your biological health younger than your chronological health. So number 7, and there's a lot, but I just picked 7 because I know number 7 is going to be a favorite for everybody, is it improves sleep. So people who meditate, they fall asleep sooner, they stay asleep longer, and compared to those who don't meditate. They've done studies on this, and it's just because it helps relax your body. So I do a live meditation here on Facebook 3 times a week, and I do it in the morning. And the reason that I do it in the morning is your cortisol levels are spiking between 6 and 8 in the morning. They start as early as 4 in the morning, and then they reach, by 12 noon, they're descending towards, bedtime. So if you're a person and you're waking up sleepy, well, maybe there's something a little off with your cortisol levels, but most of us are waking up kind of anxious. And it's not because we're anxious. That's normal. Like having a little cortisol in the morning is normal, but you don't want it to be disabling. So it's really nice if you have a meditation practice and you're wondering which time to do it. You could try before bed to help you sleep, but also in the morning, it's, I like to do that to help people kind of have a little calm, and so they can stay focused when they're starting their day. So I'm not actually sitting very well, but posture, you can do posture any way you want. So I am not a rules person with yoga, like, okay, you have to be sitting with your hands like this and perfectly straight. I tell people a lot of times when I do Facebook live meditation, some people are in a different time zone, so they're getting ready for bed. If you want to lie down on your yoga mat, if you're going to sleep and you want to re-listen to one, if you like Deepak or whatever, whomever you like to follow, if it relaxes you, like, great, just do it. Like, don't force yourself to sit up. If you're falling asleep and you feel like it's more for sleep, then lie down. When I do sit though, I know Adina was talking a lot about posture. I do make a lot of cues for posture. So I may say, reach your head up towards the sky, feel like your sitting bones grounding down and feel the expansion in your spine, feel your collarbone and your chest opening, feel the muscles in your lips and your face relax. Like I'm giving all those cues so that you can receive everything that you need to receive during the meditation. Also, by giving a lot of physical cues while someone's guiding you, it's helping you stay attentive to your body so that your mind's not wandering in 7 different directions. So that's just one basic tip. Another one is breathing is so important. So even if your posture is not correct, like even if you're feeling distracted, even if it's not the right time of day and you're tired, just the only thing I would say is just to focus on your breathing, and you want to really turn off the sympathetic nervous system and get the PNS, the parasympathetic nervous system turned on. So that flight or fight mode, that is what's getting us going in the morning. That's what's getting us out of bed. And sometimes when it's going too high before bed, we need to kind of like turn it down. And so that is what meditation is going to do for you. And it's going to sort of all those nerves in the spine can relax. And so one tip is to breathe through the nose. I know people are always confused about how to breathe, and it's just I inhale through the nose and I exhale through the mouth. And one quick tip on that is to make sure that when you are inhaling through the nose, that you are exhaling for longer than you're inhaling. If you go the opposite and you're inhaling for a long time, then letting it out really quickly, you're actually going to reverse the process and you're going to start to go back into that flight or fight mode. So just keep in mind that you want your exhales to be longer than your inhales. If they match up, that's okay. But just really take a long time to extend the breath out. And then the other thing about the breathing to get it correctly is to breathe from your belly and not from your chest. And one tip I've always used when I teach kids especially is like put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And then that way you can start to segue from, your hand to your belly. I also imagine the belly is like a balloon because kids like visuals. So it's like you can imagine like your stomach is like a balloon and it's expanding. On the inhale, you want to bring in all the air you can. And on the exhale, you want to feel it like the balloon contract, like you're letting the air out. And then I visualize the breath moving up towards my head so I can let it out. So I think that was all I wanted to say. I feel like I just lost thought on breathing, but it'll come back. Okay, so mantras. You don't have to do them. Some people do, some people don't. Deepak is big on mantras. I like them because they keep your mind from wandering and they also plant a seed. So whatever mantra you're using, that is sort of like a subliminal advertisement for your body for the rest of the day. So, I mean, if you're saying, I am peaceful, I am calm, I am grounded, even if you're not feeling that, it's like fake it till you make it. Like you say it and you do the breath work and your body is going to start to believe that as your day goes on. Believe it or not, you will actually feel calmer. You will feel more grounded. You will feel more peaceful. If you can't think of a mantra, calm is always a good one. Like I am calm. I feel calm. I just always like the mantras to be I am instead of instead of a wish. Like it's actually I am. So it sends that message to the body that it's a current situation. Okay, and then last few things, active meditation. So I tell people, like, if you are not the type of person that can sit, and maybe meditation is not for you that way, you can do meditation in so many different ways. I mean, just going on like a long walk through nature, like a quiet walk, that's meditating. Being in the kitchen, I'm not talking about music and TVs going and chat, but like really being in the kitchen, like looking at the vegetables and looking at the fruits and washing them and really enjoying the process of cutting them and putting them into a blender or whatever. To me, that's meditative. There's also some music you can find on Spotify called Binaural Beats, BINURAL, and it's just a frequency of sounds. It's designed to recalibrate your body for either rest or meditation. There's so many lists on there. Listening to that while you cook, while you walk, while you drive. I mean, you can't meditate while you drive, but when you get to a stoplight, you don't close your eyes. I mean, if you're really tense, like take a minute to be present, like just say, I am calm, and take a couple deep breaths, when you're at the stoplight, and that will just immediately take the edge off of your commute. And then give it 3 weeks. It's funny that, Adina gave 12 weeks, like here, it's like, give it 3 weeks, like give it 21 days. A lot of meditation challenges are 21 days. That just gives you enough time. 21 is just to kind of recircuit and recalibrate your body, my advice would be just to start with 5 minutes. And you can set a timer on your phone and then maybe go to 10 and 15. And if you want to go to 20, right now, I think my meditations every day, 3 times a week, are between 5 and 10 minutes. And I just keep it really, really simple that way. So thanks so much, Kevin.
Thank you, Sheila. I feel like there is 2, 3 times, 4 times as many things as that you could share with us than what you were able to. And I would certainly admonish people to follow you on Facebook and be part of your morning meditations, and they'll learn quite a bit from that, I believe. So thank you for sharing today. All right, Adina is going to talk to us again, and this time she's going to talk about nutrition. So, what kind of food do you like to eat? And is it really nutritional for you? Does it fuel you? Adina?
Okay, so I'm going to do 3 points again, because I could, talk about this forever, obviously. I eat all sorts of foods, but I would say, here's my thing. I know that when we hear, get healthy and lose weight and all of this, we think, oh my gosh, this is, the only thing I can eat is probably chicken. And that's just not the case. I try to post on my Instagram. So if you're not following me, you can follow along at Adina Fit is my Instagram handle. But I will share certain things that kind of compares, like, this is what doesn't work, this is what works. And the plates that work are plates that are full of all sorts of vegetables, all sorts of meats, fish, turkey, all of those things. So it's not as boring as people think. So when I'm coaching, it's always about, okay, first things first. So starting out, we're going to cover the starting out first. Your body really just needs structure. You wouldn't believe how many clients, I always send like a little questionnaire that, tells me about them so that I know what to do. But a lot of the times they eat healthy food, but it's like 2 meals a day. And that just doesn't work for our body. So a misconception, or maybe just a not known fact, is that our body, if we don't give it good food regularly throughout the day, it holds on to weight because it's trying to survive. And so if you are like, hey, there's 2 spectrums, and I've coached both. Usually it's, hey, I do need to, lose some weight, get a little bit healthier here. And that's usually either intermittent fasting, which doesn't work for everybody, but is an amazing tool if it does work for you. I do have to say, for ladies, be careful, because it can actually mess up our hormones if we do it like the boys. And Dave actually just fasted for like 3 or 4 days. So for men, it's amazing. Guys can fast do like a water or juice fast for 5 days. And all that's going to do is, obviously it's going to melt any bad fat that's not serving you. Okay. But it's also going to elevate your testosterone, which, dang it, I'm like, I wish a little bit more testosterone, because testosterone is so amazing. We have a little bit, obviously. But for women, it can mess you up. So 12 to 16 hours. Try it a couple of days. You can do it, a couple times a month. It really just depends, but you have to pay attention to your mood and your energy levels. So starting out, it has to be structure, and then consistency. What does structure mean? It means you are not just eating 1 meal or 2 meals a day. It means you're eating, I would personally, my opinion, at least 4, but up to 6. That includes snacks. So you're not eating 6 big meals, that includes snacks. And if you're doing intermittent fasting, so let's say you're going to only eat between 12 and 8, then, just plan accordingly. The meals might be a little bit bigger. That's okay, because, your body still needs those calories. So that's what structure means. And then be consistent. If you're consistent, you've used the 90-10 rule, you're gonna see, I promise you, you will see changes. Like, it's just a no fail. You will see changes if you're consistent. And then, okay, so structure and then consistency. So those are my 2 on starting out. Start easy. But here's the thing, and again, another thing I know not everybody's passionate about. When Sheila was talking about meditation, yeah, I can't. It's amazing. Like, it's so beneficial. So I can't even express how meditation is so important. And the mind always comes first before you do anything, before you're ready for a workout program, to embark on a journey, if your mind is not coming along with that, you're going to just be miserable. You just are, and you're going to give up, and then you're just going to hate everything. So just setting yourself up for success with that mind first. And so I lost my train of thought here. This is because I get so excited. But so, oh yeah, this is what I was going to say. So because I know not everybody's going to love it, just start out slow. I mean, do what you know, right? I mean, chicken, definitely, it is one of those staples. When I'm prepping for a show, that's what I'm eating. And I do get sick of it as well. You know, I got sick of broccoli one time, but I just switch it up. So again, when I work with clients, I just send a list. I send a list of approved condiments, because yes, you can still use a ton of stuff, a ton of seasonings and condiments that are really good, that are not going to mess up or throw you off track. Because the biggest things we're looking for or trying to avoid are sugar. That is the biggest thing, honestly, is sugar. I know, but you know, here's the thing: we have to be like real. I love sugar. I love, like, you know, that question, like, if you could eat one thing every single day for the rest of your life and not, like, it's not going to affect you negatively, for me, that's pastries. I love, but am I eating them every day? No, but I will still enjoy them. And so that's that whole just balance that we talk about. And so it can be very hard. I'm very, you know, again, honest. Yes, it's hard. It's hard work. But once you get there, you don't look back. Once you get that new habit, but it is a lot of work to get the new habit. And so just starting out slowly, the way that I learned about food is, yes, I mean, I had to obviously eat these foods, but then also just Googling, like, nutrition facts of avocado, nutrition facts of half an avocado. So, okay, half an avocado has 14 grams of fat. Like, I just know that now, because I just kind of, and I feel like, I mean, it is like, you do have to put in the effort. It's important that you have just the general idea, which is what I strive for with my clients, is that when they, because I'm not going to coach them forever, right? So when they walk away or they stop training, they at least can maintain this because they have some general knowledge about the foods that are available and that are, you know, they're going to make them feel good. Because at the end of the day, let's just be honest, even like if I have my cheat day where I go and, you know, I have that burger or whatever it is, sometimes I do just feel like gross. You know, it's like, because it bogs down my energy, it bogs down my system, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, you know? And so it's just about feeling good, what feels good. So that's that regarding food and starting out. Just, again, start easy, start slow, consistency and structure. Second would be prepping. Again, it can make you or break you. If you don't prep, you're just going to go through a drive-through. You're just going to reach for something random. And that's what it is. It happens, right? Because at the end of the day, we all need to eat. At the end of the day, a lot of us do get hangry. So it's just like, it's one of those human things where you're like, oh my God, I need to eat right now. And so prepping is so important in your journey. I would say, you know, pick a day. Everybody has different schedules. Usually it's like a Saturday or Sunday for me, where I just prep. You can prep up to 4 days. I mean, if you want to be a superstar, you can definitely freeze and all of that. I'm not a huge fan of freezing. I like to, and I also like to allow myself to cook something new, because again, it can get boring for sure. I mean, I can deal with that, but you know, the general public necessarily may not be able to do like broccoli and chicken over and over and over. So that's another list I send to my clients, is a list of just cruciferous vegetables. A cruciferous vegetable is a cancer-fighting vegetable. Like, it has nutrients that are cancer-fighting, detoxifying, amazing for you. So I send a list, and then I just say, just do whatever you want. You can mix 2 or 3 different vegetables. So if anybody has the mindset of, oh my gosh, like this is boring, I want you to stop thinking that way, or I just have to eat this and this. Stop thinking that way and start just opening up and having more fun with the food. And you can put all sorts of things on a plate. I always say, as long as it's like, if it's a vegetable or a healthy fat or whatever the case may be, have fun with it. You know, portion control is a big thing, obviously. So we do want to make sure the portions are correct and right. But prepping is so important. So prepping for 3 to 4 days, and then you have a chance to cook something else and prep again. And it's going to feel so good. Like, I just can't, you know, it's like, and it does when you're ready and you're prepped, like and I still do it. So another thing too, it doesn't matter a pro athlete or a amateur or just a person who's living the lifestyle. It's always effort. I still do the effort. You know, it doesn't just stop. Because we do. If you let it go, well, then you let it go, and then things just move backwards. So I still prep, and when I do, I'm just like, yes, I have everything. I don't have to worry about anything or stress about anything. So prepping is so important. The last one is maintaining. Maintaining is very important because I think we're starting to undo. I don't think I'm being delusional when I say that, you know what, I feel like we are moving towards a healthier future for all of us because a lot of people are talking about it. I don't think, you know, the stuff we used to have, I think like maybe in the 90s or so is like the fat loss pills and this and that. That is not real. It's a lie. You may be able to lose the weight, but you're going to gain it right back. And that's because you haven't done it the right way, the way that you can maintain. And the way you'll be able to maintain it is by learning about the food, understanding what you can do, understanding what's available, and just having fun with it. Don't be so restricted in your head and, you know, so overwhelmed. Just, what do I love to eat? You know, there are going to be foods that you don't like. Don't eat those foods. I mean, unless you hate like every single vegetable that there is, then okay, maybe, you know, there's some trouble. But I don't think so. I think all of us hate a couple things, but there's so much variety. Go to the local farmers market. You know, that's also very fun, is to support local and go to these fun things. When you are at the grocery store, shop on the outside perimeter. I'm not saying never, ever, ever go for like a snack. Again, I try to be very realistic. I love all of the things just like the other person. It's just a matter of having it be a lifestyle. You know, if your lifestyle is to just do what's going to nourish your body, make it strong, you're going to be able to get up in the morning without aches and pains. That's really the goal. That's what the goal is. It's not even about losing all the weight. We should get to a healthy weight so that our body isn't inflamed and fighting all these other things, because that bogs down your immune system, your mental health, your emotional health, all of these things. It does. It just does. On some level, everybody's body is inflamed, you know, from working out, from whatever. I mean, everybody's body, but it's not inflamed to the point where it's fighting to survive. And so, you know, I want people to start thinking about that. I don't want people to just think, oh my God, I have to lose this weight. Well, yeah, all of us have to be at a healthy weight so that our body can function. So that's how I want people to think about it. It becomes much more positive when we, you know, don't look at ourselves and we're like, oh my gosh, I have to lose all this weight. And no, just switch your mindset. Like, hey, you know what? I'm sick and tired of hurting, of being in pain, or having to take these meds, whatever the case may be. Food is medicine. I mean, we've heard that phrase before. But it is, like, it actually is. And so maintaining is just being realistic with yourself, being real, and just starting to learn just general knowledge about food. What's a healthy fat? So before I end my talk, I'll just kind of name a couple things. For example, let's start. Our diet consists of proteins, fats, and carbs. So proteins are going to be anything, starting with meat eaters, it's going to be fish. I love fish. Fish, it's going to be lean turkey. It's going to be chicken, of course. Red meat, I do not recommend for women as much. You can eat red meat still, and obviously try to do it lean. And it's okay to have that steak every now and then. My body just craves. I think it's just the iron in there for us ladies. Iron is important. but I don't recommend it as often because of the cancer factor. That's just a fact. So those are your meats. But protein also consists of, legumes and beans and all these other protein sources. Now, if you're not a meat eater, you just have to keep in mind you will have to eat a lot more of the other stuff to replace the needed protein that you do need. So just a heads up on that. And also, if you're not a meat eater, I want you to be careful with the fake meat, because me and Dave did this thing one time where for a week we wanted to give up meat just to see, and we bought the, like meat. And then I looked at the ingredients and it's so processed. So you might think, that, and there's different reasons people don't eat meat, obviously, that I completely respect. Everybody's different, and that's amazing. But just be careful, because when it's processed, that's not very beneficial either for you. So that's just a heads up. Okay, then going to carbs. Carbs, all of us need carbs. You may need lower carbs when you are trying to let go of some of the weight, and that's okay, but you still need carbs. Amazing carbs to include in your diet would be what's called complex carbs. So as long as they're not sugary carbs, you're okay, such as yams, sweet potato, like Japanese sweet potato is awesome, parsnips, brown rice, black rice, or forbidden rice it's called, stuff like that. Even a banana actually is a complex carb, even though it has some sugar, but just being mindful and careful. So those are your carbs, and I don't know if I'm like missing any, but those would be like your more complex carbs. And then your fats. Healthy fats consists of avocado, of course, grass-fed butter. There's, this stigma over, oh my gosh, butter. Well, unless you're eating a stick a day, you're fine. You're okay to include butter if you love it. Put it on your, this brings me to bread. Another carb is just sprouted bread. You can eat bread, it's okay, but maybe just not the white bread that's bleached and just empty, right? And it's just going to pack on, like right here and make you feel full, and it really doesn't provide benefit. That's what you should think. Does this provide benefit to me right now? Which is what I need. But sprouted bread is awesome. So if you want to smear some butter on it, it's fine. Ghee butter, that's a clarified butter. That's something that I use in bone broth, which is very good. You can use it with vegetables as well to add some different flavor. Cheese is okay as a healthy fat. So, again, if you have anything that's fat-free, you need to get rid of it, because chances are it's very processed. And fat-free, that is not how you should be living your life. Fat is good, especially healthy fat. Your brain is fat. It functions on fat the best. So fat is amazing. And, that's really it. And just one last point, your gut and your brain communicate, and that's a whole nother that's a whole nother conversation. But just so your immune system is in your gut, and your brain and your stomach, they do communicate. And so you can solve and you can get rid of a lot of ailments through just getting your gut healthy and that bacteria healthy, and all of those things. So there you go. If you have any questions that I can answer, I will.
Yes, I totally admonish Adina. Follow her on Instagram. She was fixing a meal last night or Saturday night that I saw, or Dave was helping. I don't know who was fixing it, but it looked amazing.
Yeah.
It was swordfish, maybe. Yeah. Does that sound right? Okay. Yeah, it looked great.
Is an amazing fish. It's very meaty. It's very dense. We usually get just one piece and we split it because it's so dense. It's like a steak almost. Right. And we made, and we did rice. Again, it doesn't always have to be just like 100% healthy. It was just white rice. I love jasmine rice, but we threw like peas and basil in there. It was like this mint basil pea rice or something. It was so good. But then on the side, we had this fish and we had a salad or whatever the case may be. So having a couple different things and really having fun with it is what it's all about. So we do love, when Sheila was saying the kitchen thing, it's, for me, my favorite part about cooking is cutting vegetables. I swear, it's like I'm meditating. So that's why I'm because I love just cutting up vegetables.
All right. Well, follow Adina. You'll tickle your taste buds if you cook what she cooks. Believe me.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Adina, for sharing with us today. Now, next, we're going to hear from Heather Hill. And Heather is, of course, a certified OolaLife coach, but she's also an essential oil educator and a certified aroma freedom technique practitioner. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
She recently retired from corporate America, but she has extensive experience in employee training, instruction, and management, and also public speaking, as you'll easily see. And she is going to tell us about her own personal fitness journey. So, Heather, we'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Kevin. So the first thing I have to say is when I couldn't figure out why I was here for a discussion about fitness. You know, I'm a 60-year-old overweight woman, and I've been overweight the majority of my adult life. So when Kevin reached out and asked me to be part of this, well, first of all, Kevin's amazing. So when he asked me to be a part of something, I'm just like, sure, what do you need? But even before I realized that it was a fitness talk, I agreed to do it. So I started thinking about it and I realized, well, he probably asked me to speak because of the fact that I lost 428 pounds. But then I remembered I gained back 398 of that. So that's probably not the reason. And I finally actually reached out to Kevin and just said, you know, can you just clarify what it is you want me to discuss here? And he said, just share your personal fitness story. So I started thinking about that. And I mean, it's been a roller coaster for sure. The affirmation for Oola Fitness is I am fit, healthy, disciplined, and strong. And again, for most of my adult life, none of those words could be used to describe me. I was active and fit when I was a younger person, and I played on some high school sports teams. But once I hit college, I mean, forget the freshman 15, it went way beyond that. And I got married and started having kids, and I was just less and less active. And I just piled on the pounds. And I got heavier and heavier over the years, tried all kinds of different programs. I mean, you name it. If it said, you know, it'll help you lose weight, I tried it. And I'm not saying anything bad about any of those programs whatsoever. I now know it was totally my mindset and how I was going into those programs. And finally, about 7 years ago, I decided, well, you know, I obviously need some kind of medical help. These other programs are just failing me. And I found a hospital weight loss program. And over the period of 6 months, drinking nothing but protein shakes and their prepackaged meals, I lost 80 pounds without exercising. So basically, I starved myself. But I managed to get down to a socially acceptable weight. And I wasn't ready for that. My family, my husband, my kids, they had never seen me that size. I was heavy when I got married. I was heavy when I had kids. And that weight loss just happened way too fast. So of course I gained it all back, plus just an extra 20 just because. So that's just been my fitness journey. But then fast forward to Oolapalooza in December of 2019. And we were taken through the Oola framework to find that one goal that will change your life, that one thing that if you accomplish it, your life will radically change. And I knew that I needed to work on Oola Fitness. So I decided, okay, this is it. This is going to be my one goal. I chose discipline as my word, my accelerator. And I stood on that stage in front of like 250 or 300 people, however many people were there, picked a random number of pounds, picked a date out of the air. It happened to be my wedding anniversary, but there was no reason for that to be part of my fitness goal. So I just picked a number, picked a date, and I went with it. And so, of course, I came home with, you know, armed with my word discipline and did nothing, just continued to eat unhealthy and not to do any physical activity. The goal date that I picked came and went and nothing. So then the Ooler blocker of self-sabotage really came up big time. You know, I failed again. Here we go. Another goal that I just blew. And I went back to the Oola framework and I started to really put thought into why I had chosen that goal. And I realized that I picked a goal I had no connection with. When I looked at the Oola Fitness and really analyzed that affirmation of I'm fit, healthy, disciplined, and strong, I started looking at it a little differently because fitness is more than your physical condition. It's your mental health. It's spiritual health. It's all those things that make you whole and well, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And pursuing your Oola life, definitely your Oola Fitness rather, takes physical energy and stamina, but it also takes mental discipline and integrity with yourself. That's the piece I was missing, that integrity with myself. And, you know, it's how you take care of yourself and how you deal with going outside of your comfort zone, how you handle stress and things that are thrown at you that are out of your control, which we've had a little bit of that this year, right? You know, earlier I called myself overweight, but really that weight is just a number and it's arbitrary. And that number does not necessarily dictate whether or not I'm fit, healthy, disciplined, and strong. When I was in high school and I was playing sports, I was active and appeared fit because I was considered an acceptable weight, but I was not healthy or disciplined. I mean, I was a teenager. I ate junk food. I stayed up late. I didn't take care of myself any better then than I did as an adult. So even though I appeared to be physically fit at that point in my life, overall my fitness it's just not been balanced at all. And I did not hit that goal I set in December because I was not choosing a balanced way to be fit, healthy, disciplined, and strong, right? So I did some work on my mindset, like Adina mentioned. You know, I researched healthy meal planning and I created an accountability community along with a friend of mine where we could encourage other people to follow a balanced path and I could get encouragement from them as well. And I realized that this is not a race. My health and my physical condition is not a race. I can't really put a set number or a set date on being healthy. It's an everyday journey and an everyday struggle because I can't undo 50 years of unhealthy habits to hit a pretty lofty goal in 5 months, right? I tried that before and it didn't work. So I've changed my goal, not because I failed to hit it, but because it wasn't the right goal for me. And Oola Fitness is about striving to do better. And my goal is now in line with that. Today happens to be the 50th day in a row that I have walked 1 mile or more. I'm actually up to about 2 or 3 miles a day now. Nobody's more surprised than me, let me tell you. But, you know, each day now I'm striving to do better mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually than I did the day before. I make better choices in my food and my activities and the things that I say to myself. And I now give myself the same grace that God gives me, right? God walks with me every morning. I take him along on that walk and we have the best conversations. And, you know, for those of you that do like the numbers, I will share with you that I am, as of this morning, down 30 pounds. So if you are struggling, know that there is hope. You just need to set your goal to work for you. Take daily action steps to get you closer to being fit, healthy, disciplined, and strong. And keep striving to do better than today. Better today. I'm getting emotional, I apologize. Than you were yesterday. Thank you.
Heather, thank you for sharing that personal story. You have inspired me, your group, and all the people that are in that group have inspired me. And I am working on my personal fitness too. And tomorrow I am starting the Oola Detox Tea 14-day challenge. So everyone out there, this is my proclamation that I'm doing that. I'm going to somehow give up coffee for 14 days. I have no idea what that's going to look like. But if you hear screams from the Southwest, you'll know what's going on. So I just wanted to alert you to that fact. All right. Thank you very much, Heather. Next on our program, we have Jessica Silva. And Jessica is a life and wellness coach since 2014, and she's also recently become a personal trainer. She's been helping families discover ways to improve their health and lifestyle for years. And today she's here to help us. So Jessica, it's your turn. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. It's been great to be on this panel with these amazing women and yourself. I'm just going to talk about why personal health is important to me and my family. So my husband and I both work in healthcare. We work for fire departments. If you don't have someone in your family who works in that type of career, you may not be aware of all of the chemical effects and stressors and exposures that people in that career have, right down to their gear, firefighter gear, the waterproofing and everything on it is actually, it causes cancer. So when that is heated and wet and on their skin for long periods of time, they're exposed to all of those carcinogens that are keeping them safe and dry, essentially, but also harming them. And there's a whole process of what they have to go through after exposures and fires and everything like that. And that's just on the fire side. Mix in the medical side and what they're exposed to on a daily basis, different diseases, illnesses, everything like that. We decided that we needed to take a proactive step, lots of steps, to keep ourselves healthy and to keep our families healthy and to prolong our lives as best we can, because there's things that are out of our control, but then there's things that are in our control. So about 6 years ago, we started using aromatherapy and natural solutions to combat what we could, what was in our control, so that it would lessen the effects of the things that were not in our control. So right down to stressors of the job and shift work, lack of sleep, things like that, we started using a regimen where we would use aromatherapy at night to support our sleep, so that we would be awake and more energized every day, which is going to support your overall health anyway, because your body needs that rest time to rebuild and reset. And sometimes when you're working 24 to 48 hour shifts straight and going on calls in the middle of the night, you don't get that rest. So supporting that on your off time is really, really important to us. For myself, I'm a big advocate for fitness. Like Kevin said, I became a personal trainer in February. Fitness to me is a daily thing that I can make a priority. I put it in my calendar. My husband knows when I'm going to go for a run or go to the gym, whatever the case may be. It's a priority for me. Where Oola comes in is it helps me to balance out everything else in life, because I could easily just go with fitness and my mental health, my physical health, and then kind of let other stuff go by. So Oola helps me balance all that out. Our daily process of keeping ourselves healthy and fit would be eating healthy the best that we can, preparing meals in advance, using different aromatherapies during the day to keep energy up, keep the house happy and fresh, avoid using candles and stuff like that that are, again, upping your exposure to carcinogens and other things and putting that in the air. We're doing what we can to keep things healthy and clean. Like I said, what we can control, we try to control and keep as natural as possible. Right down to our cleaners and everything, anything that we're bringing in the house, I want to look at and say, is this serving us and improving our health, or is this going to be detrimental to our health? So that's something that is a daily conversation in our house. Anytime we go to the store, anytime we want to try a new product, we're constantly like, is this better for our family or worse for our family? Where is it going to leave us after a week of using it, a month of using it, a year of using it? You just need to be the gatekeeper for your home and not be afraid to stand on that foundation of, is this good for us or bad for us? You can't let what the world is saying come in and affect your choices for your family, because you're the only one who can make those decisions and make healthy choices and do the best that you can for yourselves and your kids. And we're raising the next generation of free thinkers who are going to go and, have kids of their own and take these habits with them. And it can have generational effects if you're doing the right things now and modeling that for your kids. And I have 3 kids, so I want them to take what they learn from me, right down to like rubbing oils on your feet. When I first learned that was the best way to get them into your system, I was like, that is the weirdest thing I ever heard of. It's so natural to my kids. They'll pass that on, hopefully, God willing, they'll pass that on for years to come, and that will just be normal to them, that they can support their immune system, support their mental health, their physical health with natural ways, and not having to seek supplements or, outside things to try to balance stuff out. They'll have a good foundation going forward. What else do I have here? We're supporting the sleep, again, for our jobs. And then for fitness, sometimes I try to get my husband along with me, but he's not a huge fan of that. He does what he can to stay healthy, and strong enough to do his job and do it well. But I'm more of the fitness one. I'm the one out there encouraging the kids to go and be active, hoping that I can get my neighbors out for walks, encouraging friends through social media. And that's one of my favorite things, is when someone comes back to me and was like, oh, I've been looking at your posts and, I signed up for a 5K. And running doesn't have to be your thing. It's about finding something that you love and that you'll stick to, because it will help you physically and mentally and, improve your life overall. So that's all I have for you today. Just, controlling what you can, so that it balances out the things that you can't.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jessica. We appreciate that.
My
Very
pleasure.
eye-opening presentation about firefighters and first responders. And they're certainly a group right now during the COVID pandemic that is in all of our hearts and our prayers of everything that you guys do. So thank you for all of that and how you serve, especially in that.
Yeah.
All right. We have come now to time with Susie Bradley. She's the owner of Essentially Fit in Woodland Park, Colorado. And she also has a background in dance and gymnastics and cheerleading. And if you've ever seen her on Instagram, I don't know how she did that. How did she just do that? She's standing on her head. She's standing on her finger. I don't know how she does all that stuff. She's also a Zumba fitness instructor, and she's been a wellness professional for 17 years in the dental area. And so today we get to hear from her, and she's going to kind of sum up the whole day on fitness as she talks about the different areas of fitness. So take it away, Susie.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. And it's been a pleasure to listen to everyone's insight and wisdom in their field. And I've learned so much. So thank you very much for spending this time. So yes, thank you for that. I'm going to talk a little bit about Zumba and how Zumba fitness can be beneficial in many different areas. So I'm just taking and honing in on that today. And so I was introduced to Zumba by taking a class at my gym. And after weeks of going and just feeling so happy and refreshed, and how less stressed I was, my husband brought it up to me and he said, why don't you look into teaching this? It seems like it brings you so much joy. And in the time of my life, I have 3 children. One's 20, 16, and now 10, but I had a 3-year-old running around the house and just kind of felt a little burnt out and tired. And he saw how energized I was with Zumba. And so he's like, why don't you look into this and see if you could teach this? So I'm glad that he appreciated that, knowing that I needed a healthy outlet for something that I love to do. And dance is that, and music. So I just so happens there was a fitness instructor certification just the next week, which was kind of timely. So I went ahead and took the course, and I was so energized at the freedom and creativity that I could have while teaching Zumba. So a little background on Zumba, because a lot of people don't know still what it is, or they just don't understand the concept. So the origin of Zumba, it was created in 1998 by Beto Perez in Colombia. And he was teaching an aerobics class and forgot his music. And he freaked out and went, oh my gosh, what do I do? So he ran to his car and he scrambled around and found some cassette tapes, that kind of dates it. And they were just of some random Latin fitness music that he used for street dancing. And so he went in and did this impromptu class, and ironically, his students really loved it. And they loved the moves and the music that he used. It was so different. And that was kind of the inception of rumba size, which is now modern day Zumba. And so now this Zumba is an international fitness craze, and they're in 186 countries. And Beto Perez still leads us in this Zumba empire. He's so fit and so in with his instructors. There's over 100,000 instructors like me. So it's an honor to be a part of that. So Zumba's motto is to ditch the workout and join the party. At first, when I thought of that, I thought, how is that really getting you, working out? But it's such a beautiful fusion of that. I think it's such a fantastic fusion of those two together because it really feels that way when you're doing it. So it's easy to teach, number one, and then it's also really easy to modify based on the fitness levels of my students. So when the hour is over, everybody's spent and sweaty and tired, but they're also laughing and so glad they did it. And so it feels like such an infectious kind of workout that it has been a joy for me to teach. So in teaching this and experiencing that, I noticed that it has the ability to shift the mindset mentally and physically to just kind of melt away the cares of the world. And it helps to burn calories along the way, of course. So the endorphin release that you have keeps the stress hormone cortisol fleeing your body. In Zumba, there's no place for stress. There's no place for judgment, negativity, or self-sabotage. I love to say that there's no mistakes in Zumba. We just have random solos. So if you make a mistake and you do a random solo, it's okay. It's part of the party. So the Zumba model is about 70% world-inspired music, and then the choreography and the music. Yes, burn while you learn. So true. So it's 70% world-inspired with the choreography, and then just 30% of what you hear on the radio, just for relational reasons. And then I love fusing worship dance as well in it, and then songs through the ages for a warm-up and a cool down. I have lots of random solos still too, Jessica. But because of the amazing cultural diversity in the songs in the Zumba choreography, it has an ability to transform and kind of transport you around the world. It helps you to understand and appreciate by giving you a spiritual and a soulful experience, and how dance and music are just languages of joy in movement. And I really love that. I get a lot of feedback from testimonies from students, kind of reminding them of beautiful memories of travel and of good times. So whether it's dancing in a cafe in Spain, a salsa lesson with their husband, or learning to dance before their wedding, or a hip hop memory of kids or friends going to the club together, or just line dancing with the family at a wedding. I just love those stories. They really just warm my heart. So one of the things I really love to hear as an instructor is the breakthroughs in fitness. Their spouse notices that their favorite jeans fit them again. They feel strong again. Their husbands and wives are telling them they're beautiful and sexy. And just all of this lovely emotional wellness is really good feedback to feel. And I felt it myself recovering from a minor back injury. So it feels so good to know that you can get back and to do something that you love. So because I'm a statistic geek, I love gathering fitness tracking stats for Zumba. So just to give us a perspective of how hard we're working in that room. So in 60 minutes, we burn on average about 600 calories. We take about 6,000 steps. And in 16 consecutive songs within that hour, we go about 3 miles of dancing. So that's kind of a fun perspective to see. So a lot of people have their Fitbit trackers on when they take our classes, and so they can see the intensity of their workout. So it really does depend on how you're feeling and how your body is that day. So this past 6 years have been so awesome, and I see such a range of age groups. I see people in their teens. I even have a gentleman in my class who's 85 years old and a past triathlon guy. And if you see some of my YouTube routines, he's in the back, and he's loving it and dancing and having a good time and slaying his fitness goals. And when he leaves, he's smiling and sweaty, and it just feels so good. So the good thing about Zumba is you do not have to be a dancer. Really, you don't even have to be very coordinated. You just have to have the willingness to try and not to worry about it and just let it go. So what I encourage my students to do, exactly, it's a no judgment zone. So I encourage my students to give themselves a lot of grace, because really the first 3 to 5 sessions is kind of a brain workout. It's setting the stage and establishing to help that muscle memory kick in. And it really is a beautiful thing to see when their wheels start turning. You know, a lot of times I'm facing them, but a lot of times I have my back to them, but I always have a mirror and I can watch them behind me. And sometimes I just see their face light up like, I got it, I got the movement, and they feel so good about themselves. So it truly is for everyone. They're encouraged to listen to their body, push their limits of intensity, but also protect themselves from injuries. So as a previous athlete, I've had some injuries myself, and I find that Zumba works really well for me. So it's such a multifaceted modality, and it really complements different body styles. So one of the things I love doing is assisting people get out of their comfort zone, one salsa step at a time, to move like no one's watching. And also, as they grow in their confidence and they let go of their blockers, their personal blockers to fitness and emotional blockers, I really see them become empowered and more connected to their mind, body, and their soul. So finding a fitness outlet, and obviously we all had different fitness modalities here as far as nutrition and wellness and discipline and just really keeping chemicals out of your body. And then also all the amazing tips you had, Adina, for cooking and how energized and excited you were to hear you in the kitchen and your training. You know, we need to find something that's just a personal choice that's fun and passionate for ourselves. In these unprecedented times, it's pretty crazy out there. It's a pretty interesting world. We've learned to pivot and be creative. So uncertainty, depression, anxiety, those can all creep in every day. And so finding something like Zumba or other things we've talked about today, it keeps you uplifted and it keeps you motivated and disciplined and moving. So thanks again for having me, and I appreciate you listening about Zumba.
That was excellent, Susie. Thank you very much for sharing with us about that. My daughter lives in Colorado, and she teaches Zumba also. So I know a little bit about that.
That's fantastic.
And yeah, so glad to hear about that and let you share with other people. I want to thank all of our certified OOLA coaches for being with us today. It's been excellent to hear from you. Thank you for all the information. I know I took several notes, and I hope the rest of you that listen at home do also. We will have another session tomorrow night, and it'll be here on the same place. And if you're wondering about how can I find out more about OOLA, well, we can all help you find the OOLA book, Find Balance in an Unbalanced World. So if you do nothing else, then check that out and get a book and start reading that. You will do yourself a favor. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll sign off with what we always say as certified OolaLife coaches. Be grateful, have faith, and go get your OolaLife. Great. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Bye.
Bye.